Initially, you know, I was sent the live to his lives, and I've been supporting him basically in a lot of stuff. So I do hope that he can, but I mean, of course, this was thrown together just hours ago. I don't expect everybody to be waiting around for me to go live to address questions, that's for sure. I brought this up because, Little Bill's been pretty upset with me and coming after me ever since I muted her in a live that I had a couple days ago, because she was essentially talking over me. And I feel like if people are going to ask somebody a question, you really should give that person an opportunity to answer that question before you move on to another question. And like when I joined a live earlier today with Pinup, there was so many things that were being said. They were being, literally things were being twisted with the words. And there was one question after another, and I was never given a chance to answer one question before another person or the same person would move on to another question and another question. It becomes unreasonable and unrealistic at that point for anybody to be able to expect somebody to respond appropriately when you don't even give them the opportunity to respond. It's like you're setting them up for failure at that point. So, like I said, I wanted to do this to give an opportunity to anybody that wanted to, hey Christy, hey everybody, who wanted to ask questions. There's only a couple people that are actually blocked from this live, and like I said, the llamas will not, I really don't care for a llama to come in here. Like to me, they're nothing but drama. So earlier today, there was some things that were said that I said that were completely twisted into the most ridiculous narratives as far as I'm concerned. So when I said to somebody, I don't know what kind of jobs you have, but I have to make up the time for my job, somebody took that and said, they twisted it to saying that I said they didn't have any jobs. Like, do you see how just taking a few words and changing it around changes the meaning of that altogether? It makes it appear as something different from what was actually said, and that's been done frequently. And I don't think that that is ever okay. When you have somebody that's continually twisting words to fit their narratives, that's a problem, and that's a problematic person. And I do believe that Little Bill the Kid is a problematic person that does that. I've seen this several times throughout the past several days. And it seems like Little Bill got upset with the whole thing that started out as a conversation about, God, it was in Moses's live, and I was simply asked a question about what demographic of person I thought was the most homophobic. And in my answer, I included the word cisgendered. I did not call any of them cisgendered. I agreed not to call any of them cisgendered, but just using that word triggered a whole mess of people. Let me see. I'm gonna turn on the comments for now. As long as they don't get crazy and out of control, if I see people starting to be disrespectful, I'm going to turn the comments off. Like, you guys can talk amongst yourselves. Anybody can come up here and ask me questions. But what people are not going to do is they're not going to ask me a question, not give me time to answer it, and then talk over me or tell me what my answer is without asking me or giving me an opportunity to, hey, love, or not giving me an opportunity to answer that. Hey, love. Hey, Max. So again, earlier today, somebody took something I said and completely twisted the context of what I said. I didn't say, oh, none of you have jobs. I said, I don't know what kind of jobs you all have, but I have to make up the time to work. Like, I literally went into a live and said, I adore you too, love. I literally went into a live and said, I don't have much time, and I was trying to offer this time for later, but it didn't seem like anybody wanted to respect that. And they were piling up questions on top of questions. And I was trying to explain, the more time I was away from my desk working, the more time I had to spend later making up for that time. So that means that it would be later, like it's 7 or it's 8:07 here. That means I had to work later today because I took time out of my day to address things with them. And I was trying to explain that to them, but they took what I said and twisted it and changed it from a question to a sentence and made it fit their narrative to try and make it seem like I was saying something I wasn't. And the way they worded it, the way they worded my statement definitely seems problematic, but that's not how I said it. The same thing with when I said, I don't know if any of you have experienced a loved one being taken out of this world by police. Again, it was posed that way, but it was changed later. And what I found very interesting was how much people are so willing to dehumanize a person just because they don't fit into the stereotypical category of the demographic of person that police typically target. We know the first Pride was a riot, and why? Because police do have an issue with gay people. So why it's so preposterous to anybody that a person could be killed for being gay, I don't know. That's a personal issue that they have to ask. That's not taking away from anything else. I've never said a lot of the things that people are trying to say about me. I completely agree and completely understand and completely know that black people are targeted 3 to 4 times more than white people. I fully understand that. And you will never hear me disagree. The weird thing is a lot of people are setting out narratives and trying to make it seem like I don't agree with things that I actually do agree with. Like a lot of their talking points are like, you'll never understand that. I'm like, you're right. I get that. I never will. But they don't ask me questions. They're projecting my thoughts out into the world like they know me, like they're in my head. Again, little Bill the kid was asking me a question the other day and basically projecting my answers out before I even had a chance to answer them. And when I asked her, please don't talk over me, hold on, let me answer that, it was no, no, no. So I put her on mute. When she couldn't be respectful in my life, I creeps. And see, I don't really know her that well. I really don't know a lot of people that well, and they don't know me. But like when she came into the live, I didn't know. I even said to her, I don't know who you are. I've seen the name before, but I didn't really know her even from the name. And when I said, you can come into the live, I don't know, you just be, make sure you're respectful. She wasn't. And that's the same respect that they wanted today. And I get it. But when I'm literally like not trying to interrupt, I was literally trying to just say, hey, can we continue this later? Because I said right from the beginning, I don't have a lot of time. I'm working. Nobody respected that. Like this thing, people say, oh, respect is a two-way street, but they're not giving it and they're expecting it before, like immediately not giving respect, but expecting it. And so do you have the original audio from Moses' live? Isn't that where it started? I didn't record that. I saw there's a page. I did a search for Honey Badger. I did a search for Honey Badger Unleashed, and somebody, Pillows, they had 2 videos up of it, but I don't have that original audio myself, unfortunately. But I do know that when I answered the question about the demographic, when I answered the question about the demographic of what type of person, Chasing Pillows, that was it. Yep, Chasing Pillows, that was it. They have 2 videos up on their page that had some of it. And I do know that it was from when I answered a question. I mean, I even said, here's the thing, my answer was, he asked what demographic. I said, well, typically what I think is heterosexual, cisgendered men, and mostly white. The conversation changed so much that people were trying to say that I was attacking women. I'm like, wait a minute, I never even said woman. I said men. And it got so twisted to where people heard what they want, and people just became, in my opinion, I feel like people became very defensive just by hearing that word. I wasn't calling anybody that word. I even told them I wouldn't call anybody that word, but they were like, no, you're doubling down. I'm like, no, I'm not doubling down. But if you're gonna ask me questions and I'm answering honestly and you just don't like the way I answer them, that's a you issue, not a me issue. Heathen, no thank you. If that's the heathen, I think it is. Yeah, no, I really don't want that heathen in here. In fact, yeah, I'm just going through the list of who's in here right now. If anybody wants to come up and ask me a question, if you're somebody that I don't know, like Jumpman, you're getting blocked. You have 0 followers and you're following 0 people. There's no reason for you to be in here. Because that's just trolls at that point. So Anybody else that wants to come up though, if you want to ask questions, I more than welcome it. I don't see any requests in here now. Yeah, I think it was Bish. I think it was that heathen. I saw them send a request to join the box. I'm like, no, definitely not. Especially if it's that heathen. So in Pinups Live today, she asked me to come in. I went in. I said I have very limited time. And Pinup's welcome. I don't believe I have her blocked, so she's welcome to come in. I said I don't have a whole lot of time. I said that right from the beginning. And I was trying to offer to go live later, but I was constantly just told to shut up, essentially. You know, this is essentially what was happening with iCreep in my live, only the difference was iCreep was asking me a question and not giving me the opportunity to answer the question, and she was kind of projecting what I would answer out there. And I said, no, give me a chance to answer that question first. And she was like, no. So I put her on mute. And as soon as I took her off mute, it was like, I'm going to go have my own life because you just muted a black woman. I'm like, first of all, to be honest with you, like, I'm not going to assume anybody's anything, because I have friends that are white and very Southern, and they are very Southern and they have a Southern accent, but somebody might assume that they're this or that. I don't do that. I'm not going to do that. Like, if you guys haven't noticed, a lot of times I may not even know if you're male, female, if you're black, if you're white, if you're mixed, if you're Latino. I may not know. I'm going to judge you and treat you based off of your actions and off of your behavior and off of the things that you're doing and saying, nothing else. Like, that's it. So if anything, you're going to get completely equal treatment, because I'm never going to target somebody based off of their skin color. Never, period. Like, unless you're a white person pretending to be black, that's a little different. If you're blackfishing, yeah, I've addressed plenty of those, because I don't agree with that. I think that's very detrimental to the black community. And as a white person, I kind of feel like it's our responsibility to call out the people that are white pretending to be black. That's just my opinion. I've even posed that question to people of color, like, okay, whose job is it to call out the blackfishers, right? In my opinion, if you know that they're white and they're pretending to be black, I kind of think it's up to us white people to call them out. That's just me personally. But other than that, I'm not targeting people's race, period. Especially, like, I've been, like, take this for what it's worth. I can never understand what it's like to be a black person. I'm never going to claim that I can understand. Okay. And if anybody ever hears me saying anything like, oh, but you did that to a gay man, that's because they started something first and I'm throwing it right back at them. And a lot of times it goes right over the person's head. Like, iCreep, it had nothing to do. Her getting muted in my live was because she was being disrespectful and because she was talking over me and not giving me a chance to answer a question. That was it. Why she had to bring anything else into it and make it about anything else like she's been continually doing, to me, that's manipulative. That's manipulative as fuck, in my opinion. So she did, like, if anything, I actually gave extra time and said, please, hold on, let me answer. But in my live, I'm going to conduct it, and I'm going to try and do it in a way that's fair to everybody. Like I said in my video, I'll bring up one person at a time. I'm going to address one question at a time. You ask me a question, give me an opportunity to answer it, then we'll move on to the next question. It's not fair and it's not right. It's kind of like jumping on a person when you're just piling on question after question after question, and you might be making statements that aren't even true. And that person wants to rebuttal, but they don't even know how to properly rebuttal because you're not giving them the opportunity before you're moving on to the next subject. That's not fair to do to anybody. That's bullshit. That's total bullshit to do. So again, in Moses's live the other day, I agreed not to call any of them cis. And I wasn't calling any of them cis. That's the whole thing. Like, somebody replied in a video today and they said, well, the problem is a non-trans male is calling these females cis. I'm like, am I though? Am I? Show me where I have, because that's the narrative that's being put out there, but I actually haven't. Like, I've actually respected people and said, if you don't want to be called cis, I'm not going to call you cis. But the narrative wants to be twisted by certain people that want to put it out there that I'm saying something different or that I'm doing something different. The fact of the matter is, I just used it in a statement, in an answer, and it triggered a lot of people that can't seem to handle that word. They can't seem to handle hearing that word. And a lot of times it seems to be non-trans. I'll say non-trans instead of cis to make people feel comfortable. A lot of times it's non-trans, heterosexual people. And for somebody to sit there and say, oh, all my friends are gay. He doesn't even know. All my friends are gay. You're tokenizing your gay friends at that point. That's what you're doing. Okay, and I saw that earlier today with iCreep doing that exact same thing. Think about how you would feel if somebody was saying something to you like that applied to you. You would be like, that's tokenization. To say that I'm tokenizing my friend that was taken out of this world by an officer, when I've had a video up on my main YouTube page, not the one linked to this profile, but my other one, my main one, well before I even came onto TikTok, when I reopened an internal investigation in Pinellas County to try and get this officer held accountable. Like accountable meaning more than just fired and then rehired in another county north, because he was fired when the homicide report came out. He was, but then he was rehired in a county north with a promotion. So that's not tokenizing because I want justice for an officer to be put behind bars when he committed a homicide to somebody else. No. I'm not the one out here seeking money. I'm not crying on camera looking for sympathy about my story. I'm out here asking for the truth to be told and for people to not smear it. You have people like Jenny Torres in the fold. You have other people that are using his story inappropriately, making videos of him singing next to the officer that took him out of this world. And the amount of people that are okay and comfortable with that shows a lot to me. It shows a lot how people are okay with dehumanizing gay people. Because whether you hate me or not, that's a victim that didn't do anything to anybody. That's a victim. And I'm sorry, but if you have 2 followers and you're following 17 people like Maria, you're getting booted. The last thing I care about is numbers. That is the last thing I care about. Leslie, you have 14 followers. Sorry, you're being blocked. I don't know you. You've got low followers. You're getting blocked. That's all there is to it. But yeah, does anybody have questions? I mean, this is meant to be, for me, after blocking those, you had Little Bill that can't hear. Nobody's spinning the narrative, Little Bill. Little Bear can't hit. Little Bill can't hear. I'll tell you what, since you have so few followers and you're being nasty in the comment, I'm blocking you. This is my live. And the one thing anybody's not going to do is they're not going to come in here and twist their narratives and then be disrespectful in the comments section with all caps especially and expect me to keep them in here. This is my live and I'm going to run it how I want. If you don't like it, sorry. You don't have to be here. You don't have to be here. This live isn't for you. I'm not here to argue with you. Okay? So there seems to be people that have an issue with me. And that's fine. If they want to have an issue with me, I don't really care. I will try my best, and I try to treat other people with respect, but it is also amazing to me at how people are so quick to call other people things and put other people into a box, but they don't want to be put into a box. God forbid you call anybody phobic, but those same people are quick to call other people things that they may not be, right? Yeah. You guys don't like it when it happens to you. But yet, if you look at things and if you look at the reality, it's a lot of the people that are getting upset over a word that they just don't know and they're not familiar with. And when they hear it, they're going berserk. They're going berserk to the point where, in my opinion, it is my opinion, that is a form of transphobia. That is my opinion. Doesn't mean you're a transphobic POS. It doesn't mean that you're a horrible person. It means that, in my opinion, there's probably a lot that you don't understand or don't want to understand, to be honest, because I don't think a lot of people even want to try and understand that word. They just want to be offended by it. In reality, that's how I feel. And I'm allowed to my feelings just as you all are. But don't get upset at people just for being honest, just because what, you don't like their answers? It's funny how there's a lot of people in here with very few followers, or none, practically none. And obviously somebody's desperate to screen record. Again, if you have like a really low following, and if I don't know you, chances are I'm going to block you. No offense. I just don't have time for bullshit. And I'll be honest, a lot of people already know this. Like, I've pretty much collected a lot of the documentation that I want. Who got banned? I've collected a lot of the documentation that I want, and I might possibly doing a whatchamacallit, I don't know who Darren Collins is. I don't know who he's telling to cry more. Dude got banned, but since you seem to be problematic, you're getting blocked. Pinup is welcome to come up in here, because I don't even remember what I laughed at. It might have been an uncomfortable laugh. I have no idea. I would need to know more context. If you want to come up here, I just sent you an invite so that you can explain. Because I honestly, like, I heard somebody say that earlier about the laughing, and I don't even remember when or what point it was said at. Like, emotions were high. I kind of felt like there was a lot of things being thrown at, and a lot of questions and a lot of things being thrown at me at once, where I might have been just laughing at that. Like, to me, it was ridiculous. I was being asked like question after question and never given an opportunity to answer one before they moved on to the way that things were being handled. It wasn't in a constructive way at all. And as you just heard, like, my laugh just now, that was probably the extent of my laugh. It was just like, oh my God, I can't even believe this is happening, you know? But if you want to come up and explain more, or if she wants to come in and explain more, at like what point, play it back. I don't know what she wants to do, but I definitely feel like I'll address it if I get more context. So that's up to her, or up to you if you want to come in. That's fine. They're welcome to stream my live. Who's, just out of curiosity, who's streaming it? And just here, you have 3 followers, and I typically would block you. To me, it's weird. I've never done that. Like, I'm not going to stream somebody's live. I'm going to go over there. Of course, Little Bill. Of course. I really don't care. Little Bill seems, in my opinion, like I put in the captions of my video here, that's what I feel. I feel that she behaves that way. So if she wants to throw out every kind of accusation about other people, I don't understand why she can't take a step back and look in the mirror at herself, that she's tokenizing her gay friends when she says, all my friends are gay. That's tokenizing. Me trying to get justice for my friend, or speaking up about the truth about my friend, when other people like Rabbi come into a live and start lying about that, that's not tokenizing. Mediator, should you like to come over to? No, I mean, listen, with all due respect, listen to the ridiculousness of that. Like, I've had this live planned. I offered them to come over here and ask me questions. And now they knew, because I had a video out announcing that I was going live, and now they're going live, and they want me to go into their space where they can do the same thing that they did earlier, ask me 50 questions at once, or I won't exaggerate, but it was more like 5 questions at once, never give me time to answer, and have more people jump on me and make accusations about me that are false, twist my words around to fit their narrative, and never give me a chance to respond. Or when they do, it's like I'm allowed to be cut off mid-sentence every time I open my mouth. That's not going to happen. I'll address one question at a time over here. So if anybody wants to come over here, I'll allow one person in a box at a time, and I will address their questions. How do I, let me see if I could figure out how to unblock her. Here we go. Let me look. Honestly, I don't even feel like it's going to be productive at this point with iCreep. Pinup can come over, Dominican can come over, anybody else can come over. At this point, I just feel like iCreep, to me, at this point, she has already shown too much in the part of being problematic. Twisting words, changing the meaning of my sentences or my questions into things that they're not, talking over me and not being respectful of me, but demanding respect constantly, even in my space, like she did that the other day. So at this point, I don't want to deal with her. She's been mass reporting me all day. As you can see right here, she made an accusation that I mass reported her during the time that I was sleeping. Last night, I literally made a comment on one of her posts that I didn't even know. I was told about these videos. I went over, I looked at it, and all I said was, yeah, it's a little weird. Like, show me where I said that you're being homophobic by using that song. Did I say it's a little weird that you use it twice on me? Yeah, I don't care though. You want to call me a little girl? I don't care. Call me a little girl. Like, I'm just pointing out things. I'm pointing out a lot of hypocrisy, and it goes right over the heads of a lot of people when I do that. I was just relaying after running across your life. That's fine. Again, normally I would block somebody with that few followers. I don't really care to entertain a conversation with iCreep. I feel like she already had a chance the other night. She came into my live. She was disrespectful, and she turned things around when I muted her because she was talking over me. And if she couldn't handle being in my space and I gave her the opportunity to talk again, and she just wanted to dip out and run and go do her own live and talk crap about me since, like, to me, she's already shown her lack of integrity. Honestly, so Firewire 61, I don't follow that ideology, with all due respect. And yeah, I agree with Just Here. I doubt I would get a word in, honestly. She would probably just talk over me and be disrespectful again. So, she does just twist it every time. In my opinion, she twists the narrative. She twists what I said. Again, I was literally saying, I don't know what kind of jobs you all have, but I have to work and I have to make up the time for my job. And they took that and twisted it into trying to make it seem like I said they didn't have jobs or something like that. That was bullshit. They also took me when I said, I don't know if any of you have had somebody that you've lost to police brutality. And they changed that into a completely different sentence. This is the narrative twisting. This is the bullshit manipulative. This is manipulative as fuck. And people like that, that are being manipulative, I'm not going to entertain. Because it's childish. Now, I will say, as far as the generation lane, I don't follow that ideology. I was born in 1969. I'm 54 years old, but I feel like I can learn from anybody, older, younger. I can learn from my dog. I can learn from going out in walks in nature, from just being out in nature. I don't feel like I'm better than anybody else. I don't feel like I'm smarter than. I feel like I can learn from almost anybody, especially a lot of times, especially younger people, because they have fresh ideologies and thoughts or fresh ideas and thoughts, and they don't think the same. They're not stuck in a pattern. So I don't like when people say respect your elders and things like that. I don't follow along. Tell me. I know I don't like, I know you look a lot older than me, but no, I'm actually 6 years younger than you. and she doesn't want to hear it back, you know? But I don't like that whole respect your elders thing. I think that's something, like, to a certain extent, maybe because people have lived longer than you, but it's not something to throw around as an excuse to be crappy to somebody, just like anything isn't. Like, you shouldn't be using your sexuality, anything. I'm just going to say your sex, your gender, your, like, nothing should be used as an excuse to be crappy towards other people. And I saw quite a few people doing that, and I see quite a few people doing that. And in my opinion, personally, I think race